it's a concept.
Borders are a concept.
Like, yeah, there's a physical border, but it's like that's not the way the world didn't appear, right, with these borders erected. You know what I mean? Like, Pangea didn't have like borders. Like, it wasn't like that. It was people who made the borders, people who bought the land, you know, either through colonization or they settled there first, or like they bought the land, you know, different ways that it becomes incorporated into a country or a nation. And basically, I think borders should, of course, there should be borders, trying to make sure that, like, you know, if like criminals try to like
national security reasons and stuff. Okay.
But I really feel like if you look at the difference, because I've been to Mexico and I've been to Canada, right? And I've seen the difference in like the border security there. I don't think it's necessarily that, like, I feel like there's this like narrative that like all the Mexican immigrants coming from Mexico are all like dangerous criminals. Right? They'll like say, when you say criminal, there's like a connotation, right? There's like, oh, that person's dangerous, that person's this, that person's that. But like, it's like,
oh, sorry. Okay.
I don't want to get
Yeah. We can step this way a little bit if you want. Yeah, no problem.
And what was I saying? I'm sorry.
You were saying about criminals, the connotation, danger.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, like a lot of people, who are American citizens, right? They like smoke weed in high school, right? That they might have gotten that weed from like a plug, right? That person is technically a criminal. They were selling drugs to an underage minor. Is that person necessarily dangerous? Not necessarily, but they're still like a criminal. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like borders and people, I'm sorry, I'm not in my element.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But you want me to add a little bit of context, maybe to get you going a little bit more or something? So, do you believe it's not a crime that if they come through the border illegally? However, you don't believe that it's a crime?
I mean, like, yes, it is technically a crime, but I feel like there's just levels to it.
Yeah,
I don't think,
violent crime, and then you know what I mean.
Like, I don't think someone who's coming to America, right, because they want a better life for their family, they want a better life for their children, they want a better future. That's not the same as someone who went and like caused a mass shooting. That's not the same at all.
That's understandable. From our end, you want to add something?
I did want to add something. I am like an immigrant, right? I immigrated legally from the Philippines, and I watched firsthand like how much my mom struggled to be able to immigrate legally. And I just don't think like that struggle is justifiable. Like, she got put through hell for like maybe like a handful of years.
Years, money, time.
Like, where Filipino workers, they moved to like Saudi Arabia to like work and provide better like stuff for their family, right? And I just feel like, what do you call it? It's not that different when people come to America to do the same thing, you know? It's just like, it's so much like, it's like they treat it like an exclusive, like you can't come over here, you know? It's like, it's so strict and it's so hard to get in just to like get a better life for your family. And I just don't think it's justified how hard it is and how much people struggle. And
so it should be easier to come here legally, right? The process should be easier to come here illegally. Would you consider the fact that a lot of illegals coming here makes the process harder for the people who are trying to come here legally? What do you think about that?
I think that even if they are coming here illegally, the punishments, like, you can like, it can be like a case-by-case basis on whether or not they're getting deported. Like, you can look at their like history from like whatever country, like let's say they're coming from Mexico, right? Let's say, like, just to say like, oh, they were like a drug lord or something. You can look at like their history, do a background check on them, and then be like, okay, you can't come in here. But if it's just like a regular person, right? That who tried to come here illegally, maybe they didn't understand the process, maybe they thought that it might have been just too hard to come here legally, or they had like time constraints or like money constraints, right?
Of course.
Then I really feel like the government should like provide assistance to help them.
Our government, not their government?
I feel like it could be either or.
the first ever inter-promotion.
Okay.
The thing is, right, we want what's best for America, right? Like, we care about the concern for America. So immigration should be something that should help America, because you got to look out for your country first. We can't be helping out the whole world. And when you have illegals, like you said, it is going to make it tougher for people to come here legally, because they're taking jobs that should go for American people and citizens. And as soon as we start to have issues with immigration, with illegals, it's going to be tougher to bring in more legal immigrants. And when you're having issues, any crimes like the 26%, I know, even though they're all committing a crime by being here each day, but as soon as that number is higher than 0, that's where you have an issue, because they shouldn't be here in the first place. And so we have to clean up what's happening here in our country before we can start looking more to different ethnic backgrounds. Like, we're all American, right, speaking the same language. But when you have people coming here who aren't assimilating, speaking different languages, they don't want to assimilate with like the Western culture values, that leads to division in that sense.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
Yeah.
Me, I'm Nigerian, right? And so basically my parents are immigrants and stuff. 2 of my siblings are immigrants. And I feel like I can like relate that to Nigerians.
Of course.
Right? Some of the problems that are with Nigerians, I see some of the same problems that are with like Americans. You know what I mean? I feel like there's problems with every
Yes.
group of people, and it just really depends on each case. It's not
Yeah.
like to be able to say like, oh well, immigrants don't assimilate. Well, they don't necessarily have to. You know what I mean?
Well, if you want to be an American, you
Yes.
need to be united under the American culture, because if we don't have all united under America, we're going to lose our country.
Pretty much, the immigrants don't have the best interest of America. So that comes against the citizens too. As taxpayers, we supplement a lot of them. Not saying they don't pay taxes, but when it comes to immigrants, I believe they only pay 17%. So each year costs on the low end from 150 billion to 450 billion. We could smack it in the middle, 300 or 350,000. We would be able to pay if we really wanted to get the immigrants. Say if we wanted to deport 20 million or something. That was like a main number that they said Biden let in, probably more, but we'll just keep it at 20. So it would actually be financially efficient if we would even deport like 20 million. You know what I mean? That would solve a lot of problems as far as for American citizens. We got to put American citizens first. So they cost 150 billion to 450 billion, but yet the taxes that they pay in is only 17% of that. So us as American citizens, there's a lot of flies around here, huh? Us as American citizens, we supplement a lot of that, and that's what causes tax increases, maybe schools flooded with immigrants, which is fine if they assimilated too as well. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have a problem. There wouldn't really be a problem with as far as immigrants assimilating if they would just pretty much make an effort.
Like, part of that American dream, you want the immigrants to go full on, right? Not just the benefits, but to have that love for America, to assimilate, want to speak the common language, English, all unite under what's best for America.
I think it's necessarily like you have to speak English, you have to speak Spanish, because Spanish is also a very, what's the word? Oh my God, what's the word?
Really
common.
Yeah, it's common.
It's also a very prominent language. America doesn't have an official language, for a reason. It's not the UK, it's not England. It's America. There's no American language necessarily. American culture, I feel like, is very spread out throughout the world as like American heritage and American culture through like media and TV shows, even that, and social media. And I feel like it's really made its stays in many other countries in the world, and I've seen it like firsthand as I like travel to other countries. I see American culture, I see American values and
Well, we do have a lot of influence across
Yeah.
the world, of
Yeah,
course.
the sphere of influence of America is very large.
Let me ask you a quick question. Could you name could you name 3 things that would be considered like American culture, like to the core, to the foundation?
Even things as simple as like blue jeans, white t-shirts.
Well, I'm talking about
like the values.
yeah, like yeah, or like even like symbols or something like that, like something that needs to be preserved for American
That needs
culture.
to be preserved.
Like something like upholding the Constitution, something like that. Maybe like not defacing like American historical sites or something like that, or even like burning flags or something like that.
But I feel like when it comes to burning flags, right, that's still freedom of expression.
Well,
When you go into like the laws of the flags as well, like the president breaks those laws too. You'll see him like signing the American flags. That's considered like defacing it, right? You're not allowed to write on it. So the line kind of blurs there.
yeah, kind of. We could probably consider that like probably memorabilia. I wouldn't necessarily think like maybe a burned flag would be memorabilia. It's really that's specifically devaluating and defacing. Yeah, pretty much like the burning of flags. So like Trump signing a flag. Technically, we could make an argument of defacement, of course, but I would probably put that more on the lines of memorabilia, maybe like something similar. Not exactly. It's like see a celebrity sign a baseball card or something like that. You know, it's something. That's what I would categorize it as.
Like,
something.
that's really cool. Like you like because you like the player and it's the president of the country. Like you have love for the president because he's the leader of the country.
Yeah. Now, if he's signing burn flags, that's different or something. You know.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like it's still in the flag code. You know what I mean? Like someone made up. There were like a group of people who made up that code. The original people.
Yeah.
Who that. You know what I mean? And know the rules and if you're gonna like go against like if the president is gonna say like okay people shouldn't be burning flags, then he shouldn't be signing them.
Okay, let me make this argument. So, if you're pretty down straight on that the president should follow that, we can move that back to illegal immigrants when it comes to them jumping the border or something. How you're saying be a little bit lenient on that, but not so much the the flag signing. So
I think the president following a rule is definitely different than like people, like regular people breaking a rule, you know? I mean, like it's a really simple rule to just like uphold, you know? It's just like just don't do this. It's like set in stone and it's been a rule for such a long time. You know? And it's like that's just a really easy one. Just like
I think the consequences though are a lot different.
Yeah.
Between the president signing a flag and just allowing illegal immigrants into our country.
yeah. So like for example, going off of him, like what's the consequence for somebody signing a flag?
Well, what's the consequence for someone burning a flag?
There should be extreme consequences, especially if they're an illegal immigrant or even if they're here on a visa.
But why should there be?
Because it's ingrained in the law. Because it's ingrained in the law.
People who are hating the country, essentially devaluing that flag that's been fought for 250 years, what's going to be for our freedom.
the argument is kind of why should somebody be penalized for breaking flag code? Like
I think we're kind of moving the goalposts a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of straying far
from the immigration.
From the immigration to the flag. There's like a huge difference because there's not really a set consequence if you think about it. There probably is. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure you won't go to jail for signing a flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, you won't go to jail for burning a flag.
Well, you would actually get deported if you're an immigrant or even here on visa. You should be. I don't think that's enforced, but it's actually part of the law. And it depends on what state they do it too. You know, the blue states, they're not really going to enforce stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, this is obviously sanctuary state, blue state. We had an ICE downtown. There was an ICE protest. I went there with just the Latinos for Trump. I was there for 5 seconds. I didn't say nothing to nobody. I got bopped over the head with a metal hydro water flask.
Flashback.
What you want to do? What you want to do? What's up? What's up? What you want to do? What you want to do? What's up? What you want to do?
End of flashback.
By an immigrant who's under the DACA, and she's at large, I guess they would say. but now she can't go to school or anything like that. She's pretty much, and she's probably, even if they catch her, she's probably not going to get deported, honestly. You know what I mean? So they favor things when it comes to the immigrants, especially in these type of states, and it shoves aside, like how you're saying with the flag, like we should keep it like that, not to bring the. I want to pose a question really fast. What's the benefit of us allowing illegal immigrants here? For American citizens, for America in general, what's the benefit of having illegal immigrants?
Well, I'm not saying like they should just like allow people to just come in anyhow.
Like a process, of course.
I feel like the government should be providing resources to help the illegal immigrants become legal.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying. So I feel like immigration in general is very important, and I feel like that's kind of what America was built off of, immigration, and people from other countries coming and providing their strengths, providing their cultural values. America's supposed to be like a melting pot. America's supposed to be like this melting pot of different cultures and different types of people and
Yes.
from all different walks of life, and I feel like that's really, diversity is like our strength.
So what do you feel about when immigrants come here and they don't really assimilate here to American culture, or like as far as like patriotism? They don't have to be like a hardcore patriot, but at least assimilate to the cultures of America.
So like you look at like Minneapolis, they had people running for, I believe, mayor, and they were chanting in like Somalian, not even English.
Yeah.
They were, I believe, right? It was
And it was Minneapolis, Minnesota,
even
and
New York, you know.
and even within the Somali community, it was split because it was like tribal war. So the tribes, it was like two different tribes of Somalians pretty much. So he didn't even get, like his whole purpose was to try to get Somalians on his side. And also he mentioned making it easier for Somalians to, is what, like pretty much trying to culturalize his area for Somalians specifically. And even that was split.
Well, I feel like that's really not like an immigrant problem. I feel like Americans.
Well, he
like,
was an immigrant though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I feel like that's more of like an individual thing. Some people, like, they just aren't able to see the bigger picture, you know, and that's
Yeah.
not really because they're immigrants or because they're like, oh, they're from Somalia. I have beef with like this other tribe in Somalia. I'm not gonna like see the bigger picture. I feel
well, that
like-
was like I mentioned that because he didn't get the votes. He wasn't able to become mayor because the immigrants in his city were split into different tribes, I guess they would say. You know what I mean? When you track the roots down to Somalia. So that's why that's a big reason why. Besides, like, I mean, he did have like a lot of hard socialist takes and stuff like that. That's another reason why I would say personally he didn't make it there, because it's a lot different. It's a little bit less socialism, I guess you would say, within the actual citizens as far as New York. That's why New York pretty much won.